Alright everybody, welcome to section 7.1, where today we're going to be taking a look at surface area. Surface area is a type of measurement. It's one of the measurements we use when we're dealing with 3D objects. We've already done measurements of 3D objects before. In previous year, you may have learned about the volume of a 3D object. So a volume is a measurement of how much space a 3D object occupies or contains. So it's a measurement of how much space an object takes up or how much stuff that object can store inside of it. So if you were to take a box, a measurement of its volume would give you a good idea of how much stuff you can put inside of that box. Surface area is different. The surface area of a 3D object is the total area of all exposed surfaces. Now, if we were to take a box, for example, so a rectangular prism, well, a box has 6 surfaces. And we'll take a closer look at those surfaces. Let's draw ourselves a little box here. There's a little box there. And our box has 6 surfaces. Let's see if we can list them all. We have the front. So I'm going to highlight that in green. Okay, so we have the front here. And on the other end, we also have the back of the box. All right, what else would we have? Well, we have a top. So if I were to highlight that in purple, you can see that the top is this part right here. There's the top. So we have the top of the box. And on the other end of it, we have bottom. So there's a bottom to this box. Finally, we have this side right here. So I'll highlight that in blue. So we've got ourselves a left side. And on the other end, we'll have a right side. So there are 6 surfaces. Now, if you look at each of these surfaces head on, you'll see that each of them are just rectangles. This is why it's called a rectangular prism. It's just made up of 6 rectangles stuck together. And we know how to find the area of these rectangles. And when we do that, we'll find that these rectangles, when we calculate the area of them, that the front and the back for a rectangular prism has the same area. The top and bottom, they have the same area. And the left and right side, they have the same area. So we can calculate the area of each of these surfaces individually, and then when we add them all up together, we have ourselves the surface area of this rectangular prism. So the surface area of a rectangular prism is the sum of the area of each of these surfaces. Let's dive into an example and see how this works. So in this example, let's find the surface area. And this is the object we want to find the surface area of. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. I'm going to give you some measurements. This is going to be 3 centimeters. This little bottom part, this part right here is 2 centimeters. And the height is going to be 5 centimeters. There we go. Okay, let's first establish what's our front, back, top, bottom, left, right. So this right here is going to be our front. Okay. This right here is going to be our top. And this right here is going to be our right side. Now you can take this object, this rectangular prism, this box, you can rotate it around, and that means that the names would be different. But in the end, it doesn't matter because we're going to end up calculating the area of each of these surfaces and adding them all together. I just want to make sure that we're consistent with what we're labeling each of these with. We're going to start with the front and the back. Now I know that the front and the back will have the same area. So as long as I can calculate the area of just the front, I already know the area of the back as well. Now the area of the front, you can see that the dimensions are 5 and 3. So to calculate the area of that rectangle, I simply multiply 5 and 3. So that's the area of the front. Now because I want to calculate both the area of the front and the back, I'm going to double that. So I'm going to end up with 30 square centimeters. That's for both the front and the back together. Okay, so let's hang on to a number. We'll come back to it later. Next up, we have the top and bottom. So the top and the bottom, you can see we have a dimension of 3 centimeters right there and 2 centimeters right there. So to find the area, we do 3 times 2. And and again, because we want to include both the top and the bottom surface, we're going to double that. So this would give us 12 square centimeters. Okay, so hang on to that number. We'll come back to that. Lastly, we have our left and right side. And the dimensions of the sides is, this part right here is 5, and this part right here is 2. So we have a 5 by 2 rectangle, and because there are 2 sides, there's left and right side surface, we will multiply that by 2. So we're going to double that. So that gives me 20 square centimeters. Okay. We have 30, 12, and 20. Let's go ahead and add these up and then calculate our surface area. So our total surface area is 30 plus 12 plus 20, and that gives us 62 square centimeters. And that's it. That's how you calculate the surface area of a rectangular prism. Now, the reason I brought up volume at the beginning of this lesson is so that you don't get this confused, because many people do. Surface area is the outside area of this object. So think about if you wanted to paint a box, you would want to know its surface area. If you wanted to gift wrap a box, you would want to know its surface area. But if you wanted to, let's say, fill up a container with sand, or maybe fill it up with water, that's where you'd be interested in the volume. So the volume is how much space is inside of an object, and surface area is how much area there is along the outside of the object. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you in the next one.